So here we are in just another mediocre trading day. Not much going on. Kind of I don't know. I'd call it kind of a crappy day. I mean, quite frankly, but it is what it is. Uh, I don't know that there's anything major, but who would have thought? Who would have thought this? I'm Howard Cosell. I just looked into the future, and you're not going to believe the shit I'm about to tell you. Who would have thought that? Okay. Bruce Jenner and O.J. Simpson. Interesting. Anyways, choppy until Powell, probably. But it's been choppy anyways. What's the difference? Powell or no Powell? It's been choppy. I mean, again, the trading has not exactly been what we would say active. Okay, we can't get any volume. We continue to just kind of slide into the abyss of nothing to do. I mean, I'm at the point where I trade. We trade live together from 9 to 10, and then I don't come back until about 3. Okay, what up? So again, it's been like this for quite a while. It's not like it just happened right before Powell. You can look for it to be before Powell, but again, maybe it is, but maybe it isn't. Again, I don't think the markets give a rat's ass. I think it's what they've already priced in. Okay. And maybe they might be thinking they're wrong. Again, I don't have the answer to that. Okay. I only have an answer to price action and what I can see in front of me. Somebody earlier had sent me an article. We have a Boeing position from our options call, and somebody had sent me an article. I said, what do I care about the article? Doesn't mean anything to me. That news is already priced in. It's already old news. Okay. So if you think you're gonna actually beat the tape or beat the news, you better go see a doctor. Okay, because you got to have your head examined. You ain't gonna beat either one of those. Okay. So you take what you can grab when you can in these types of conditions, because aggressive trading is for schmucks right now. Okay. I mean, straight up, if you're trying to be overly aggressive, you're making a gigantic mistake. Okay. So, I mean, look, the Dow was pretty much strong all day. Okay. Opened a little bit weaker and popped and kind of just churned in a range that is as tight as it can be. Okay. So is that something that we can be active on? I don't think so. Okay. I mean, certainly it's tradable if you want to sit there all day and try to trade it. I mean, I can see that, but certainly I wouldn't want to be overly active here. I think overly active only gets you into trouble. Okay. So, I don't know. I mean, the other day bonds and Bitcoin were soaring. Today they fell apart. Okay. I mean, Bitcoin was trying to rally, and again, here, but I mean, is it a disaster? No. I mean, again, it's pretty much staying in range. Okay. I think we make the mistake by trying to think too much. Again, the price action is the price action. That is what you have in front of you to trade. Okay. Anything else you're going to do, you're making a mistake. If you're trying to interpret some stupid ass article or what some jackass says on TV, well, you're making a mistake. Okay. You're just looking for trouble. Okay. Bonds, listen, they got clocked a little, but they did come back. I mean, they were down over a full point before coming back. And where are we? We're right at resistance. Okay. Now we're long, so not that I hate being long bonds, but not that not that it matters. Okay. Because at the end of the day, my position will be my position. Okay. And I will trade accordingly, but also during the day, if I'm day trading, I will trade the markets according to what's happening now, not about what I think or what my position is. It only matters at what time frame that I'm actually trading on. Okay. And that is as simple as it gets. Okay. It only matters on what time frame that I'm actually looking at that time. Okay. And typically it's 4 minutes. So that shows you, where I would be looking to make trades. Okay. But there isn't a lot to do. I mean, It's not like we're missing out on some phenomenal potential trades. Okay. I think you have to remember that again, the markets are way ahead of us. Okay. They're already pricing in news that is out there. Okay. And they're pre-pricing in announcements to come. Remember, the big firms, the big Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan, those guys already have an idea what the news is going to be, and they're putting their positions on accordingly. Okay. So don't think that you're going to, outguess or outsmart what they're telling you. Okay. Because you're not. You have no chance. Okay. And, again, I think, listen, inflation is not getting any better yet. Oil's come down a little bit. It had a nice ride today, but I mean, you go get scrambled eggs now. It's about $20 for an omelet. Okay. You go to the grocery store, you're paying a lot higher. Okay. And there is really no relief in sight. And the one thing that they're depending on for relief is what? A hike in interest rates? Does that really create growth? Does that stimulate the economy? Okay. If we get into, raise interest rates, I don't think so. Okay. This is where the Fed is so flawed and so ignorant and so dumb. Okay. And maybe not dumb. I used to use the word dumb, but maybe not dumb. Maybe they're just, busy stealing away. Okay. But again, raising interest rates into a recessionary market, into a recessionary economy, is not what you would call a very bright move. Okay, it is not what we would think is a very bright opportunity, because of course higher interest rates are going to slow everything. It's going to slow new purchases. Listen, we got a lot of debt out there. We have a lot of dead debt. Okay, that's going to be. You're already seeing, many defaults. Okay. And there's going to be a big glut of used cars on the market. Okay. Because, the car dealers are very smart with their tricky promotions. And of course, people can't make those payments. Okay. So look, there's just so many issues, and they can all be solved so simply. It is sad that we, the middle class, have to go through the crap that they are putting us through right now. Okay. I mean, there's no logical sense to what we're watching and what we're witnessing in the economy right now. Okay, because it doesn't have to be. And do you think, does the carbon footprint change if we produce our own oil versus them, versus buying it from Saudi Arabia, or what's his name, the genius flying across the country for 7,000 miles to beg for more? Okay. Does that change the carbon footprint? Let's hear from somebody, the climate people. Okay. I mean, again, I don't think it does anything. I think it's a bunch of bullshit. Okay. I mean, that's my opinion. I could be wrong. Listen, I don't have to be right, but that's the way that I see it. Hey, Mr. Dollar Man, you going to be here for through how long? You going to be here till after what time is it in your neighborhood? You're an hour before me, so you're probably 2:24. You going to be here till after the start of the actual Monday call? I knew you sent me the question. I have it there, but if you're not going to be here, I'll do it before you go. Okay, so just let me know. But again, you watch the tape. Okay, it's what traders do. They watch the price action. That is what the market is about, straight up. Okay? There's nothing else to think about, because nothing means anything. Oh, okay, good. Must be raining. Okay. I mean, so you can try to make something of it. You can try to make something up out of this. You can look for issues, okay, or reasons. But what are you really doing if you do? You're as they say, in the wind. Okay. because whatever you decide to do is going to be, you're flipping a coin. Okay. And if you want to start flipping coins for your cash, well, I think that's probably not a very wise decision. Okay. When you can get yourself at least some sort of an edge against it. Okay. But, again, you watch this market, you can see that there's very little going on. I mean, bonds, even the bonds have no volume, which is, they're usually, back in the day, when I actually traded in the bond pit occasionally, you had to trade big size to make a tick or two. Now they fly around like nothing, but there's no volume. They always had the biggest volume. There's none. Okay. I mean, the S&P. Okay. No volume. Okay. NASDAQ. No volume. Russell. No volume. Dow. No volume. So where you at? Where does that put you? Okay. And again, it just shows you the lack of overall participation. Okay. And the question is why? Well, hell if I know why. Okay. Some will say that they're waiting for the Fed, but what are they waiting for? You already know that they're already predicting 3/4 to a full point. Okay. So what are they waiting for? Okay. And what were they waiting for last week and the week before? Okay. The Fed. Okay. Again, I raining in Las Vegas. Oh, well, good. I'm glad I'm not there yet. I'll be there Wednesday. I'll be back Wednesday for a month. But what are the markets waiting for? Well, they're not waiting for anything. They're waiting for price action to drive in a direction. And basically, they've been stuck in a range, okay, and making it a bigger challenge. And when there's no volume, there ain't nothing going on. Okay. Awesome. I look forward to it. You and Keith, my man. Gotta feed that boy. But you look at the grain markets, they've been all over the place, like sloppier than can be. It was interesting today. They ended up going, pretty much higher, closing their highs. But their volume is pathetic as well. But it was interesting when I did the update this morning, they were looking like they were going to turn negative on the day. Okay, before turning around. But what are they trading off? Okay, they're trading off a hunch. They're trading off of an itch somewhere. Okay, we're in between planting and harvest. Okay, we're now all weathermen or weather women, whatever, weather people. Okay, trying to outguess the weather, which is that going to make a tremendous difference? Well, we already know there's going to be a shortage. Okay, and of course, Russia and Ukraine. I guess that Ukraine had made arrangements to ship some wheat out, and of course, then Russia bombed the seaport. I'm not, I don't look at too much of the news, so I don't really care. But I mean, the Russian thing. Russia's having a party right now. Okay, with all the nonsense that you hear, they're having a party. Okay, because they're doing well everywhere, and they're really holding things up. Okay, which again, I'm not a fan. Okay, and there shouldn't be a war in Russia right now. But of course, when you have zero leadership, what do you think you're going to get? Okay. The country, the world is run amok because the United States has zero leadership. Okay, so again, we can talk all we want. Okay, about why and what. Okay, hold on one second. Yeah. So again, you can try to find a reason to do something. Okay, but again, if there's no price to tell you to do it, why would you? Okay. Again, this goes back. We always end up at the same place throughout all the nonsense, all the talking. We always end up in the same place. And crude oil, even with its big rally today, is still in a crappy downtrend. Okay. It was daydreaming nice. It actually, I just got the results. The aggressive was up 637.04, and the standard was up 140. Okay. Out and done. Now, Listen, you don't think I'm going to let those, you don't think I'm going to let them destroy me at the close, do you? Anyways, natural gas is exploding again. Well, why is natural gas exploding again? Well, you're getting closer to season. You've got Nord 1, which is, as I said last week, what did I say? Are they gonna ever really open it back up again? And I guess they're partially opening. Okay. And I believe that there's a now we have to remember in the 60s, save water, shower with a friend. Now they don't want you to shower too much in Germany. Okay. Because I don't think they shower that much there anyway. So, but I mean, again, look at the nonsense that's going on here. When the earth is rich with these supplies, okay. The LNG explosion is nothing. Okay, come on, that's a pimple on the ass. Okay, overall, okay, we got so much supply. Listen, we've got in this country over a 200-year supply of natural gas and crude oil. Okay, without digging and going underneath the surface. Okay, that's what we know about. Okay, without any problem. And if some of you are a climate change believer, which I am not, okay, then okay, but you're still not saving the climate. If you're bringing in the oil from Saudi Arabia, you have not changed the carbon footprint whatsoever. So what are we thinking? That's what I want to know. What are we thinking in this country with this leadership, okay, that we're not using our own natural resources? Somebody please help me understand what they're doing. Okay. I mean, it is laughable. It's really not, it's really criable. Okay. But what are they doing? Okay. Why aren't we using our own natural resources? Okay. Can anybody here answer that? That's all I want to know. Okay. And I'd have to say the answer is probably no. Nobody can probably answer it because nobody can understand it because it's about as dumb as you can get. Or is it just another way to destroy the middle class? Again, you have to make your judgment of what you think it is. Okay. I don't think that there's anything more than destruction. Okay. All right. Well, I don't think that they're tree huggers. I think they're just trying to destroy the middle class. I think they want the Great Reset. Listen, I will go to my grave. Hopefully not sooner than later, but I will go to my grave believing that this administration that's in power now is out to destroy middle class America. Okay. Because they've already destroyed, I don't know, 85% of small business. And I'm not talking about the Russell small business, although they're on to them next. I'm talking about your neighborhood grocery store, your neighborhood pharmacist. Okay. Those guys are all gone. Okay. Those guys are gone. 200 years without drilling. Right. Fracking and shale producing, we've got over 200 years supply. Okay, without going under Alaska and going into the green energy, the hotbeds. Okay, and hopefully it would be more than 200 years because, listen, I had a car at one time I think got 6 miles to the gallon. Now I got one that's got 26. So as technology gets better, it makes it last longer, right? Again, our cars are much more efficient today than they were. Okay, I mean, my first car with a 396 SS in it. I mean, how much do you think I got to the mile a gallon there? But who cared? Gas was 49 cents a gallon. Okay, but again, we can't continue at this current pace because all you're doing is destroying middle America. Okay, that's all you're doing with what they're doing. They're doing no good on anything. They've managed to create a hell of a lot more hatred. Okay, they've been able to manage a lot more divide and conquer. Okay, again, you can blame Trump all you want for if you think he was a bad guy, but I don't remember this type of divide in the country when he was the president. Okay. I mean, I don't remember this kind of crud, okay, when he was president. Okay, I don't remember China being in power and Russia at war. Okay, so again, you can hate them all you want, but it would appear to me that we were in better shape financially 3 years ago than we are today. Okay, and maybe I'm wrong. Tell me I'm wrong. Prove it to me. Okay, again, I'm from Missouri. Show me. Okay. I remember when gas was in Chicago, when gas was 16 cents. I remember my dad used to drive to different stations where they, for a penny. Okay. And they used to give you things too. They used to have giveaways. Okay. I mean, think about it. Used to get a set of glasses when I fill up with gas. I did look cool in my 396. Actually, my first car, that was my second car. My first car was a 327 Chevy Camaro convertible. But again, I had an Electra 444 or 454, I think was the engine size. But look, at the end of the day, all we're seeing is destruction. Okay, these guys don't give a rat's ass about you. Okay, if they did, they wouldn't do what they're doing. I mean, again, wages are not keeping up with inflation. Okay, so Electra to a deuce and a quarter, I think it was, and it was a 454 engine, I believe. Okay, I can't, it was a long time ago. I was a kid. Okay, but hell, again, when I went with my dad, like I said, they give away premium. They gave you everything. They gave you the World's Fair to fill up your tank. They even washed your windows. And I pumped gas too. Listen, I pumped gas when it was 49 cents a gallon. Okay, I was there for the first oil embargo when you had to have your license plates or odd days you could get gas. Okay, so I used to use a pencil. Yeah, I'd still use a pencil if I had to read something to write. Okay, but again, we've got a dramatic glut of office space. That's never coming back, kids. I mean, again, you can say it's going to come back. Who here who works at home now is ever going to go back to the office? Okay. Anybody here going to go back to the office if you're working at home right now? Okay, unless they make you. And don't you think that the companies, the big companies are thrilled about that? Okay. Hold on a second. Do you think that the companies are upset about that? No, they're thrilled. Look at how much money they're saving. Even if they give up some of their sales, look at the fortune that they're saving on everything else. Okay, it ain't cheap to be in business, which is even another dagger in the heart of the middle class. If you put up big business against middle class or small business, okay, big business has every advantage in the world, from tax breaks to supply costs to everything, because they have more power, they have more buying power. Okay, so now you're giving them even more profits, which I'm not against profit. Okay, but more profit, and now the landlords are getting stuck, and all the real estate owners are getting stuck. Now I'm sure there's some write-off to it. Again, I'm not a big owner of real estate. I own 2 houses. Okay, actually I own 3 houses, but that's my real estate holdings. Okay, but I don't see people going back to work. All right, I think that you got the same issue. Okay, that is a problem, and nobody cares. Okay, that becomes the issue. The people in power don't give a rat's ass about you or me. Okay, they care about themselves and how much money they can steal. Okay, that's in my opinion. You can argue that. And hey, listen, I'm never going to tell you that you're wrong. But to me, it's pretty evident, okay, that they could care less. I mean, didn't Nancy Pelosi buy all kinds of stock in NVIDIA and then push for a chip bill for $50 billion? Okay, did she not do that? Okay, where does that show for me? Okay, where is the benefit for me and you and all of us? Okay, now again, you can say whatever you want. You can look at it any way that you want, but where is our benefits from all that? We didn't get the tip that they were going to, run this bill? Okay. Did we? I don't think so. Okay. So once again, this administration, more than anyone in my lifetime, is screwing us. Okay. Now, again, there's been some bad ones. Okay. On both. Listen, I'm a fan of neither party. Okay. So let's not get that I'm pushing the right agenda. I got a lot of complaints with them too. Okay. But let's remember what we're watching, what we're all witnessing right now. Okay. Now, again, as I always tell you, for me, it's not going to change my life too much one way or the other. But I'm not worried about me. I'm worried about my kids, my maybe future grandchildren. Who knows? Okay. But, and again, who knows? I don't know. But I do know the destruction that is being caused in this country. Okay. That I do know. Okay. And that is not good. Okay. That should not make anybody happy, what is being pulled on us right now, because none of it benefits you unless you're in the billionaire category. Okay. And yet they have the AOC's taxing the rich. And of course, she doesn't pay her taxes. Okay. And, they're always looking for a way to get into the press, So, listen, they're very good at social media. They're very good with the younger generation. Okay. Because, God forbid that anybody that's younger is not always either on Twitter, Facebook, or TikTok, or whatever, any one of those ridiculous services. What do you say, Guitar Boy? Okay. So, again, look, at the end of the day, we are seeing mass destruction. Okay. And it can't be good for anybody's business. Okay. Except for unless you're Amazon. Good for you. Okay. But it ain't good for the little guy. Okay. If you own a little drugstore somewhere, you're getting screwed. You're getting it stuck to you pretty good. You own anything, any independently owned stores are almost, what we call those things? Extinct. Okay. Because who can compete? Can't compete with the rent. You can't compete with the supplies. You can't compete with the goods. Okay. So where are you? Proof of war. Okay. Again, obviously, honey, I know where you sit, and I'm not going to. What's happening now did not go on under the Trump administration. Okay. I know what happened when they shot a plane down and there was Occupy of Ukraine. Okay. But that did not last very long, did it? I don't think so. Okay. Why don't you give me the dates and how long that lasted and the destruction and tell me about it now? Okay. Give me a fair comparison. Okay. And then we can have a discussion about it. Okay. But don't give me a pointed side that you're on. Okay. Without the rest of the facts. Okay. It's the same thing when people send me something and I say, give me the whole position. Give me the whole story. And then I'll be happy to talk to you about it anytime. Okay. But in my opinion, yes, Connie, deliberate destruction. Yeah, it is deliberate anti-American destruction. That's my opinion. Okay. And the COVID in China is horseshit. Okay. They sent it here, and the shutdowns are for only one reason, is to put more pressure because we have no leadership in this country. Okay. That's that. All right. Anyways, let's get to what's going on in the world. Again, as I said, markets are very quiet. And, again, if you look at the dollar, which of course, we're still long dollars, listen, you had a huge run up in the dollar. No surprise that it hit a little bit of a pullback. Remember, the dollar is not that tradable, to be active in. Okay. Number one. Number two, the dollar is a pretty big fear asset. Okay. That's where a lot of countries go to put their money in times of strife. Okay. They're buying dollars because they need to protect their own currency. Okay. So that is, again, bottom line is at 86 cents or $1.06, does it buy any more today? No, it buys you a lot less, which is only, as they say, taxation without representation. Okay. In the meantime, the dollar is probably 106, 106 to 108, Connie. I don't know, 106 to 108. I mean, again, I don't trade it actively. There's a lot of reasons, and one of the biggest reasons is that the ICE or NYMEX, wherever it trades, they want a fee. I told them to scratch. I didn't pay no fee for their crap. Okay. I'm not paying extra. I can trade at the CME. Okay. But in the meantime, 106 to 108. The chip breaks were talked about when Intel was starting to build in US in news months ago, but no details. But now it's free economy, but it's not free economy in China either. So that deal isn't that bad. Of course, the people higher on the food chain take the most. Well, but again, your husband buys $8 million worth of NVIDIA on Tuesday. On Friday, you're voting for a $50 billion bill in Congress. You're encouraging others to vote for it. Okay. That's not the same thing. Okay. Please, I don't mind I'm straight. I'm honest. I'm right out there. I let other people talk. I have a lot of friends that are on your side. Okay. And again, I'm not going to get crazy, but at least give the whole story. Okay. Were you in line voting for a bill and after you bought $8 million worth of stock? Okay. Again, please, let's at least be fair and reasonable with our arguments. Okay. I have no problem. Again, I'm not a fan of either side. So it's not, I don't want one-sided where you pick out some key facts. I can do that all day long. Okay. I don't do that. Okay. So anyways, the euro currency, it finally hit that buck, right? A couple weeks ago. Actually, I was in Denver at the time, and it rallied all the way back up. Okay. Now we're still shorted. Okay. And I go, look, I would love to sell more, and I will. I traded it, and I'll sell more. I'll sell more at 103, without a problem. I still say we're going back to par. And then, well, again, I'm not arguing with them. I'm giving you just a straight truth. Okay. They're always untouchable. Listen, why do you think people go into politics that have, a guy worth 100 million? Why did he spend 20 million of his own money to get elected to a 200,000 a year job? Because they can steal 30 million. Okay. Again, either side, pick your party. They both are criminals. Okay. I still say the euro currency is going to 88 cents. Okay. There's so much trouble in the UK. They're in almost depression, but they're not already in it. Okay. So, look, at the end of the day, yeah, we got a little bounce. But remember, I told you that there'd probably be a bounce at some point, and it could be a penny, 2 or 3 cents, which is, again, if you look at a futures contract and a regular size futures contract, that's $3,750 from the buck. Okay. Not a surprise. The markets aren't going to go straight down or straight up. No matter which way they're going to end up going, they're not going straight in one direction. Okay. That's the bottom line. Okay. So don't put yourself like it can only go in one direction. Markets by nature go up and they go down. The key is which way are they actually trending? That's what you're concerned about. Which way are they leaning? Okay. And that would be determined by the time frame that you're watching them. Okay. If you're trading them intraday, that's one time frame. Again, I use this 4 minutes I'm watching if I'm trading during the day. But if I'm not, then I'm watching this. Okay. Because I don't really care. Because I'm not interested in being active during the day. Okay. So again, it just depends on your time frame. But know that whatever it is, there's going to be sell-offs and rallies, and the overall trend, if there is one, will take hold. Okay. Now, it's been the biggest challenge for us is we can't get a solid trend. We can't get a trend to hold for longer than 10 minutes. Okay. That's been, in our atmosphere, in our world, that's been the problem. We go through a couple of good weeks, bang, 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 and then they reverse right away. Okay. And then they take back what we made, and we're running in circles right now. Okay. Anyways, euro currency, 101.5 to 103. I'm a seller. I'm not a buyer at any price right now. Okay. Now, again, that does not count during the day. Okay. When I'm day trading, whatever I say here has nothing to do with it. Okay. Again, remember, I'm trading at a time when 4 minutes is a long-term capital gain. It has nothing to do with my long position. So there will be times during the day that my 4 minute position could be the same as my overnight position, or it could be counter. but at some point it's going to revert back to what the position that I have. Okay. So let's not get confused by intraday trading or day trading versus holding a position. Bitcoin, look, it looked like it was trying to make a move. It's trying to make a move, and here we are back in the toilet. Now again, listen, you all know, I've said to you many times, I'm a fan. Okay, I own some, and I own enough that if it went broke, if they went out of business and there was no such thing anymore, I would wipe it off like a duck. I wouldn't even think about it. Okay, I've already committed X amount of funds to the project. Okay, I think that its value is going to have a big value at some point. And if I'm wrong, I'll lose my money. Okay, but I'm willing to make that. I made a trade today, which I put in my chat room. Okay, I took a gamble that the market would break late. Okay, and I bought some expiring puts for 25 cents. Okay, and again, that was just that was a 12-minute trade or 15-minute trade, whatever it was. Okay, and I actually sold half at break even, so I had a free roll, and I ended up with zero. I ended up with nothing. Okay, but I broke even. But my point is that whenever I'm thinking in for 20 minutes does not necessarily mean what I'm going to do the rest of it. Okay, so I'm gambling on Bitcoin, and I've committed X amount of dollars for that gamble. Okay, I wish that I would have been like one of the guys who used to work for me that bought $20 a week starting in 2010 and bought it every week. Okay, but I wasn't that smart. Okay, so in the meantime, Bitcoin, look, I think it looks like it may be finding some new support around 22,000, but I would have no surprise if it goes back to 20,000. Okay, and I think that we're witnessing that there is certainly some resistance around 24,000. Now, again, if Bitcoin went to zero someday or went to 200,000, neither side would surprise me. Okay. Neither side. Okay, I don't know what the future holds, but the ability, if they can get it all done and get it where everybody understands it, the freedom of cryptocurrency versus dollars or euros or yen without the manipulation of the central banking system could be worth something. Okay, I believe that the cryptos will be, or already is, the currency of what we would call the libertarian or of my party. Okay. In the meantime, like I said, 20,000. I mean, right, 22,000 has support right now. Is that going to hold? I have no idea. The bigger picture, 20 to 24. Okay. And of course, the bonds had a hell of a move back. And of course, we're still long the bonds. And I hate bonds. And I never liked bonds. To me, they're worthless always, but they're going up right now. Okay, and I am long. Okay, full disclosure. But in the meantime, we are up against some resistance right here. Now again, we are long. So I would suggest that if you're going to trade this, okay, you want to look for a pullback to be a buyer. Like this morning, I don't know if they pulled back far enough to be an actual buyer. In fact, I think we sold them this morning, didn't we? I can't remember. It was 8 hours ago. The message of Nat. Blue plate special. Okay. Side note, who is it? Oh, it's going to be great. Listen, any year would use a great year, brother. Okay. Any year would use a great year. Okay. So again, I would think 140 would probably be a spot that you'd look at. And again, I'm not enthused. I don't get excited about buying bonds, right? I buy them. I buy them and sell them. Again, whatever I'm supposed to do, whether it's day trading or not, I do what I'm supposed to. It doesn't mean I have to like it, right? Okay. That's when you can separate your opinion from a market that you're trading, that shows that you can make money. When you cannot separate, you can never really make money over time because you'll catch every losing trade and always be on the wrong side. In the meantime, 140 to 142. Of course, the manipulated gold and silver okay, continue to go lower. I think gold is going to 1650, if not lower. Okay. Now again, right now we're in a range again of 17 to 1740. Okay. I think we're going lower. Okay. Now I keep getting articles. People keep sending me, and I think you're making the big mistake. Okay. Of what is the difference between manipulation and spoofing? Okay. JP Morgan is not on trial for manipulation or on trial for spoofing the market. Okay. And I will bet you that every one of you on this call has spoofed something at some point or another. Okay. I will bet you that every one of you has spoofed something at one time or another. Because all spoofing really is creating a bid or an offer where there is none. Okay. We went through this last week, Ron. I mean, what does it mean? $13 trillion. What is gold doing? It's going down. Okay. Again, it means nothing. Okay. And believe me, if it was really a discovery, they knew about it long before they told you about it. Okay. You know, you guys don't seem to get grasp that the money knows already. By the time you hear it or read about it, it's already known. It's not a new discovery. Okay. I take you back to the Kennedy era. Okay. Did anybody know that the Cuban Missile Crisis was going on for 2 weeks before the American public knew about it? Did anybody know that? Okay. Well, that's a fact. Okay. But because we didn't have social media and everything wasn't blabbing all over the place, nobody knew about it. Okay. So in the meantime, gold looks like 1700, 1740. We're still short. And I think it's going to continue to go lower. I mean, there'll be some spoofing, there'll be whatever, but manipulation. These markets are too big for long-term manipulation. That's the point. Okay. Spoofing, even Hillary Clinton got in trouble for spoofing those. So, you know, they all do it. We all do it. I did it. I still would do it. If I was on the trading floor, I'd still create a market if I want to get to the other side. Every time you hear a big news item from one of the major players, okay, what do you think they're doing? They're trying to push you to that side so they can get the other way. Okay, that's right. It's different now. Okay, silver. I mean, $18 looks like it's coming, and probably lower. Okay, you know, look, 18. I think we're 18 and 19. No, but I think you could see. I think you see 17 before it sells. Again, listen, I own a lot of it. Okay, and I hope it turns around. But I'm not gonna. I'm short, so I'm not worried about it now. Okay, you know, I don't worry about what I hold in physical metals. I don't own paper metals. Okay, unless I'm trading them in a trade. But I don't own paper in my long-term account. That's silly. I've told you that many, many times over the years that paper metals, I don't think there's enough metals in the world to cover all the paper that's out there. Okay. If you want to really have what you think is a security, okay, then you got to own physical. Okay. Anyways, right now, kind of 18 to 19. Okay. And platinum, which we don't trade, it's trying to push through, but you know, look at it. It's like pathetic. Okay. 800 held again. Okay. And certainly I could make a case that it could be in a short-term uptrend here. And certainly I'm a buyer. Okay. Physical. We don't trade it because it's not liquid enough for us to trade it. But I would say it's still probably 840 to 900. Okay. Again, it's not a great liquid product. So just be careful if you're going to try to dip your toe in. And I don't believe in any of those crap ETFs. So I don't trade any of those for this product. Okay. But I do buy platinum on a regular basis. Okay. Because I do think it's a value. But again, it could be a value that's going to go to zero. Maybe I'm wrong. Okay. Copper, which again, look at this. It's now developed a range. Now we're short. We have been short for quite a while. Okay. Now, as I look at this pattern, okay, and as I look at what's going on in this market, okay, I'm short, and listen, we have a hell of a profit here. Okay. But I would not be surprised to see it turn around. I would not be surprised that it has indeed found a bottom. Right now, it's in consolidation, right? It's the consolidating range is, let's say, 342 to 320. Okay. But I wouldn't want to be as aggressive of a seller as I would have been previously, because now suddenly it has kind of found a potential bottom, and suddenly the direction is kind of ascending into resistance. Okay. Now it's not bullish yet, but certainly recognizing that this may not be the ideal time to add to your short position here or take a new short position here is pretty valuable too. Okay. Now I'm not saying, listen, it go down below 3. I can't tell you it won't go, but when I'm looking at this, I could find a lot of better things to sell than sell into this pattern. Okay. And I would not be surprised if when we come back next week, we're long and it's up here. Now, again, I may be wrong. Again, this is not an absolute science. Okay. But I've recognized this pattern before. I've seen this movie before. And I think if you try to sell into it based on what it's doing right now, you're going to be making a mistake. If you got a position on, that's one thing. If you try to add here, I think that's a mistake. Okay. So again, meantime, 320 to 342, Connie. I don't know. I can't remember if you tracked this one or not. So I'm sorry. I always forget. Grains, pretty ugly. Now, I don't get why they're so ugly. Okay. I mean, I get it. Obvious price tag. Okay. And we're short. So again, full disclosure, we're short. However, I don't like being short these. Okay. Now I am short and I'm not getting out yet. Okay. But certainly I would prefer to be long, and I could be wrong. See, this is where your opinion comes in. But I look around and I go, well, we're at that weird time, right? Between planting and harvest season. Okay. We've got major suppliers had horrible years already. Okay. So that's a problem. I'm 99.9% sure there's going to be a food shortage. Okay. So all of a sudden, why do the grain prices keep dropping? Okay. And well, one reason is there's no buyer. Okay. But knowing this industry like I know it, and this business like I know it, it would not surprise me at all. And I've said this on air. So again, it's not like I'm breaking news here, but it would not surprise me in the least if some of the bigger funds that trade these things are trying to break them hard, because what they're really trying to do is force the banks to step in. Farmers borrow a fortune, okay, and they pay higher interest rates. We've talked about this before, okay, but they're paying it's almost like risk cap, okay, for the bank. And at certain prices, levels up here, banks are going to be a lot more apt to force liquidation than they were when it was $3. Okay. So in my opinion, again, this is just speculation. I have no proof for this other than the proof that I've seen it before. And if they're trying to force to break them, okay, there are buyers that are at least holding them above the panic level of the banks. That's the real key here. The panic level of the banks. Because if the banks panic, they're going to force farmers to liquidate. And if that happens, the bottom falls out. And of course, then all these funds come in and buy back all their shorts and get long and load up the boat. Okay. But I cannot imagine not having a food shortage. And we already have a tough start to weather. Now, in today's technology world, okay, we can get away with it longer. Okay. If this was 30 years ago, we'd be in big trouble already. But because of technology, because of seed, because of everything that we can do now that we couldn't do before, that's why when I first started trading, I believe corn could yield about 80,000 bushels an acre on good land. Okay. Now it yields between 250 and 300,000 bushels per acre on good land. And that's what technology has done for the grain markets. Okay. So we're short. So based on looking at the chart, I would say you want to be a seller about 590. Okay. And I wouldn't be rushing in there, but I think you're probably looking at 560 as some support in corn. Okay. And again, you make it clear. My preference would be to be long, not short. Okay. Soybeans, pretty similar, right? Maybe a little bit stronger, but pretty weak. I mean, again, we're at $13 beans. I'm in danger of my call saying that when they went out of the teens, it wouldn't be at 12. Well, I'm in danger right now. Okay. But at the end of the day, we'll see. These are November beans, by the way. So you'll see if you look closer on the curve, they're a little higher. But I'd say these are probably $13, $13.20 to $14. Okay, somewhere in that neighborhood. And wheat is just under massive pressure and is in a pretty nasty downtrend. Okay, listen, wheat's down about 50% from its high. Okay, so pretty ugly. Okay, now again, it doesn't make a lot. See, here's where the news can hurt you. Hey, Ash, how you doing? Okay. You're itching to get long wheat? Well, just keep itching. Okay. Keep scratching. Don't buy. You'll have plenty of time to buy when it's time. Okay. Remember, You wanted to buy it at 10, 8, 9, 8. And now it's at 750. Okay. You'll be able to buy it. But why don't you wait until there's some buyers with you? Okay. So until they're starting to push them up with you. Okay. Makes a lot more sense to me. Okay. Now this is pretty ugly. Now, again, when you think about it, we're going to be short food. Bread's already well overpriced in the stores. We're already seeing food riots in certain parts of the world. How is this going down? But it is. And that's the price action telling you, okay, that it's going lower. Okay. Until that changes, you cannot assume anything different. So quit trying to outguess the market. Quit trying to be smarter than what the market is telling you. The market is giving you a map. It is in front of you. Okay. Another deliberate destruction, food shortage, Dutch, Sri Lanka, and now Canada. Well, listen, cows farting is bad for the environment too. So, again, this is, I can't take all that stuff, right? It really, I find that very troubling. And I find it more troubling that too many people buy into that garbage. Okay. Population grows, you breathe out more carbon dioxide. Okay. You need more food, takes more production. You get more cows farting. Okay. Unless you're going to stop eating cows altogether, which obviously some people would like to see that too. But in the meantime, it is what it is. And of course, in the feeder cattle markets now, when it comes to the meats, okay, they call it the protein complex. Okay, you put some gas X. I tell when I was on Market Rally Radio one time, I said, let's put a cork up their ass and then they don't have to worry about it. Okay. The cattle markets and the hog markets, the protein complex is known. In my opinion, now we're long. Okay. In my opinion, I think that they're not going much higher. Okay. I don't think they're going to break. I think they're kind of in a fair trading range. Okay. I don't think they're going, they're very high prices, in commodities, typically, unless there's some unbelievable disease that comes out, high prices cure high prices and low prices cure low prices, as they say. And these are consumable goods, but they still can't get them necessarily to market. And I don't see a big explosion. I mean, I would be shocked, if we got back to $2 or 200. Okay. And I don't think but I don't think they're breaking so fast either. I think you get 176 is probably pretty solid in the feeder markets. In the fats, again, we're coming up against a high, but I think probably 135 is pretty solid. And hogs, this is, let me just show the other chart for a minute. Because they don't always, the problem is they don't always show the message I'm trying to give you. Okay. Let me get to the hogs for un momento, por favor. Okay. So the active contract in hogs is now October. So let's go to V for Victor. So it'd be HEV 22. Okay. So now let's take a look. Okay. Now, as we look, you can see that they're up at the upper end of the range. And again, I just think they're kind of stuck trading, probably in my guys, 90 to 100. Okay. I don't think there's going to be much more than that. Do you think the grain charge will cause proteins to be higher? If they can get them delivered. Okay. But certainly high grain prices will create higher livestock prices because they got to feed them. Okay. And of course, feeder cattle are babies that are fed up to 1,200 pounds or whatever. Okay. So it takes a lot to feed those beasts as well. So, it is kind of the vicious cycle, which is when you usually, I don't like to do this, but you saw corn way up today. Well, naturally feeder cattle were down because corn was up. Now again, I never use that in real life because to me, it doesn't matter to me. There's, the dollar's higher, then grain should be lower. That's could be true sometimes, but when the difference in commodities and in consumable goods, the supply demand curve does come into play. Okay. And if the demand is overwhelming and there's not enough supply, prices have to go higher. Okay. So yeah, to answer your question, yes, should there be, a demand? I mean, certainly, higher grain prices are going to create higher proteins. Okay. But remember, they've already priced in a lot of it ahead of time. It's kind of like a weird spread right now. If you look at it, I don't spread them as a rule. That's not what I do. But, if you look at the price of beef and protein versus the price of grains, they've significantly switched directions. Okay. And again, there's a lot of quirks underneath that. So, but I think, in my opinion, the protein complex is pretty much fairly priced across the board. I don't see much other than that, but I could be wrong. Again, it's not that I know any more than anybody else. Okay. But I don't see, with barring anything that is a disaster, I don't see anything creating a reason for them to go much higher. Okay. And of course, obviously they could. There's always, listen, nothing is for certain and nothing is forever. Okay. You don't know. But when I look at it, and of course, natural gas, so what happened? We got cracked, we got short, turned around, and went right back up, and we got long. So we're long right now. Now we're going into, you had the LNG explosion, which is really meaningless in the bigger picture. But you do have the problem with Russia. Okay, they're not pumping anywhere near what they are supposed to be. Okay, so I heard something about Nord 1 today. They were shutting down part of it again, and I don't think they fully reopened from when they shut down for the schedule. So the so-called schedule maintenance. Okay, so natural gas is a problem, and of course, obviously, we're getting closer and closer. As we get closer and closer to the fall and then into winter, obviously, the natural gas supplies are not prepared for a dramatic cold snap if one should happen. Okay, so there's a lot of things going on here besides hurricane and everything else that you can imagine. Okay, that the supply is short. Okay, even though we have plenty. Okay. So to me, I think it looks like it's going to try to go back over 9, maybe to 950 again. Okay, and I would say that probably 850 is probably support. Now, again, we've said this many times before, there's a wild product. This is look at the lack of interest. Okay, going down. So just be careful. Crude, which we're still short. And again, I showed this earlier, but this is still in a pretty nasty downtrend. It was up today, but look at where it's coming from. Okay. And just, again, as long as it stays below that line, the trend is not changing. Okay. It's really, I don't like to put it this way, but that's something. It is not changing. If we stay below, right now, 99.67, we're not changing. Okay. The trend is still down. Okay. What you see here occasionally is you see a mean reversion. Okay. That goes back here. Let's just do this real quick and give you a quick lesson. Okay. Here you've got hawks. It doesn't matter what here. Actually, I'll do it with oil. As long as I'm doing, I'll do it with oil. Okay. So you've got according to the Bollinger Bands, very oversold conditions. So a bounce is natural. Okay. And where's the bounce going to go to? And as long as the trend is lower, the mean continues to drop. Okay. So the retracement will have to be a lot less. Okay. And all you want to remember is that when markets get too much oversold, there's going to be a natural bounce. And when they get too overbought, there's going to be a natural sell-off. However, the Bollinger Bands don't tell you that. They tell you what the math says about overbought or oversold. But basically, if you look at this chart, they've been basically oversold for a month with a couple of little bounces, which is exactly what you'd expect. Okay. I did not give levels yet, but thanks for letting me know. Okay. Are you good to go now? Okay, you're still on the phone. Let me know. I will give them out momentarily. Okay. So crude, as long as I'm here, I'll give them from here. I think you're looking at probably some support at 95, but probably 90, right? We said last week, 90, and the week before, 90 is a low. I think you're really looking at 90 to 100. Okay, that's really what I'd be watching. And right now, I'd still be looking to be a seller based on the trend that we're watching. Okay, based on this trend, right now, I'd still be a seller. Okay, now if it changes, listen, I still believe, as much as I hate crude oil, and that's another thing I'd rather usually prefer to be short. Okay, but I do believe that we're going to make all-time new highs again. Okay, this is not over yet unless something happens. And obviously, the only something that can happen is November. Okay, and then they have to get up their ass and create a bill okay, to reverse this lack of making oil. Okay. Now again, can they do that? I don't know. But until we start producing our own oil, crude ain't coming down. Aramco is making a fortune. Saudi Arabia is making a fortune. And you think they're going to cut us one break whatsoever? And the answer is, of course. Okay. Cocoa. Okay. No, here we are once again pushing up against the top end. Now we're short, and it keeps staying. Now, see this. If you go back in your mind, if you can remember the difference between this and the copper market, similar action, both short. However, I would be a much more willing seller into this pattern than I would have been into the copper pattern. This has shown nothing about potentially making a bottom. This looks like it's a short covering rally that took it right into resistance. Okay. In fact, again, I don't trade this actively, but I can make a case for a blow off here. Okay. I'm not going to, but again, that's the difference. So there's, even though they got the same type of chart, it's the action and the pricing within that chart. Okay. So if you have questions about that, you can ask. In the meantime, 2280 to 24. Cotton, which we're still short. Again, this is just stuck. Okay. And it's at a dramatic meltdown. And interestingly enough, there's no cotton. All the guys I know don't have any. Okay. But yet prices are getting creamed. Now, again, is this a real crematorium, or is it being pushed down so maybe they can force some liquidation? That we don't know yet. Okay. But what we do know is that we're short, and that probably the buck or 100 is a spot to sell more. And they could remember they came from 49 cents, so it's not like they can't reverse and go back, back up again like that. But certainly it's been really pretty not much going on. Okay. And waiting for GP to say plan to return. Well, again, they may say it, but right now they don't have the power to do it. Okay. So cotton is like 90 to 100, but it certainly looks like it wants to take out the lows. It would not surprise me if it goes back to 85 or below. Okay. And I like cotton, but we're short. Sugar, which we're short. Now we got a little whipsaw in sugar. We got long first and then short, and of course, look what's going on here. It's going straight down. Again, this pattern that we're watching here, and listen, the soft commodities which trade at the ICE exchange, I believe, okay, those are not tradable as an active trade. Okay, those are position trades, because again, you'll never get a breakthrough. They'll rake you over the coals as I speak. But as I look at this, if I were looking for a trade in this pattern, I would look to potentially be a buyer tomorrow. Okay, just for a trade, not for a total reversal. But this was pushed down on heavy volume for sugar, right? It's to the product itself. Okay, it's the biggest volume spike in 2 weeks, and almost the biggest in 2 months. So it would not shock me at all if this rallies tomorrow a little bit. Okay. Now it's certainly headed lower. Okay, but the steepness of the sell-off is just way too fast. It cannot sustain at that kind of level. This is not a company that's going out of business. Okay, it's not a business. It's a commodity that's going to be around. Okay. Right now there is no. I mean, right now, looking at this chart, the only thing I'd be positive looking at it is to be a seller at 18. Okay. OJ again, untradeable, but looks horrible. Okay. Now again, here's very similar. The opposite pattern, though, is occurring from copper to OJ. Okay, right? Because we're descending with inside consolidation. So this shows me no chance of making a bottom. And in fact, if I go back, okay, came down, saw a low, and then went straight up right to resistance, and now it's come down the last 4 days in a row. And I would suspect that this will be lower the next time we get together. Coffee, this has been very tumultuous. Okay, it's been very wild. $14 down, $12 up. 12 cents. Again, we call them dollars, but they're really cents. It's been a wild market. We're still short. Okay, and rightfully so. Okay, and again, if we just look at the degree of where we are, and of course the selling was too heavy on Friday. You got a natural bounce today. It fits perfectly. If this was something I trade actively, okay, I might have looked at it, but I don't trade actively. Okay. Again, there's things that you can never, it's like natural gas. I don't trade that actively either. If you can't get an edge up on it, and it's too thin, it's not worth being active. Okay. But no surprise. Okay. And right now we're kind of mid-range. Okay. It wouldn't surprise me if we came down and tested again, but if it comes down too fast, then it's probably going to bounce the next day. Okay. Lumber. Now look, I don't trade this. I look at it so I can give you I feel for the economy. And as we thought, it's going to head down and probably test the lows and around 500 again. Now, obviously, this is tied to interest rates. It's tied to everything, right? New home sales. And they can't be very good right now. When you have to qualify for a 7.5% mortgage, okay, probably not very very bold for higher prices, right? Okay. Oh, we don't want you to double your intake of coffee. We want to keep it short. We're short. Keep it going down. Stop. Everybody on coffee strike. But again, so when you look at this, you can see the consistency of patterns. And that's what you're watching, is the consistency of the patterns that you're seeing. Okay. Again, you're not always going to be 100% right. That would be silly. But knowing what to recognize and knowing what you're looking for will help you a great deal in your future trading, to give you an idea of what should happen, and then you can watch when it does happen. Okay. So in the meantime, we're gonna stop this recording and go into part 2. Okay. And so just give me a second here as we get ready to rock. Stop the recording. Yes, Mike. Thank you. And all right, and what's up, everybody? Welcome aboard to the earlier Monday night call, the earlier version, the longer but earlier version. Okay, and you'll see us somewhere there's a slide, but next Monday the call is going to be next Tuesday instead of Monday. Okay, I will not be available on Monday. The call will be next Tuesday because I will do the call. There's no holiday. There's no reason why. I have a commitment that I can't do it. So I'm going to do it on Tuesday, same time, same station, just a different day for next week only. So it'll be the Monday call on Tuesday. Okay. In conclusion, I'm unequivocally full of crap. Yes, you are. Okay. Or you're just stealing. One of the two. Okay. And there it is, right there. Right there. Next week's call will be on Tuesday. Don't email me and ask me Monday for a link, because the call's on Tuesday. I'm telling you now. Okay. And you'll get a link just like you always do. Okay. And of course, Vegas with me in December. We're going to be at the Circa, which is exciting. Can't wait. Love the Circa, anyways. I'll be there this weekend. All right, but then we'll also be live streaming it. Okay, and these are both early bird prices, which will be going away shortly. Okay, I put the wrong date initially, but they will be going away shortly. And of course, I've accounted for inflation and giving you deflationary prices. Andy is no longer part of it. Okay. If you're asking, I will tell you that Andy and I have separated. Okay. We have divorced. Okay. Irreconcilable differences. Okay. Anyways. Okay. So, but we will be at the Circa, which is a phenomenal hotel if you're a fan. Okay. And don't sell me something, solve me something, right? Don't sell me something new. Okay. Teach me how to do it better. Okay. That's what we try to do. We try to solve it. Okay. That's our objective in everything I teach, is to try to help you solve it. Okay. Help you get to the next level. Okay. Because there's a lot of things that everybody gets roped into, these dreams of garbage, which are garbage, and is exactly what they are. And I hate to say it, but that is facts. Okay. And I really, don't like what goes on. And I really want, to teach and help others, because I've been very fortunate, and I think it's something that I can do. Okay. So again, don't sell me, teach me. Okay. Let me do it myself. 6,700 miles. All I got was this t-shirt. Okay. Now you talk about the carbon footprint. Okay. Kerry flies around in his private plane all the time. This joker costs us, I don't know how many millions of dollars does it take to fly to Saudi Arabia to beg for oil, which you're not going to get. Okay. Does anybody think that Saudi Arabia is going to give us more oil? Anybody? Okay. So again, I just, it makes me wonder. And somebody asked me a question for tonight. Can we talk about what we should see if the bear market is over versus a bear market rally? Okay. Well, I would say this. Okay. If this is just a bear market rally, which we've switched trend, right? We're long. Okay. But it doesn't mean it's not a bear market rally. I think if we stop seeing these sharper moves, right? Bear market rallies are typically the most vicious rallies. They're sharp, they're straight up, and they're taking no prisoners when they go up. Okay. And regular markets or bull markets kind of grind their way higher. Okay. Is it yet to be determined whether or not this bear market is actually over, which I don't think it is, but it could be. I don't want anybody to get confused. I'm long, right? So I'm not holding back on you, but I don't think it's over yet. Okay. I think I think this is more of a bear market rally. And one of the harder parts to read in the current environment is the lack of volume in the markets overall, the lack of interest, the lack of activity. But if the sharp moves stop coming and we get some consistent moves that are just like grinding higher, okay, let's just see if I can find a good example to share with you. You get this kind of action. This is not bear market type of action. This is steady rally, pull back a little bit, make a higher low, rally, make a higher high, and continue to work forward versus those sharp ups and then sharp downs, or even some days you get the intraday reversals. Okay. So I don't think it's over yet, but that doesn't mean that I'm correct either. I mean, because when you think about it, if you looked at this market, if you looked at the economy, okay, what could possibly be driving this market higher right now? Okay. And again, this is why we don't play the news, because if you were playing the news, you couldn't possibly want to be along here. Okay. Okay. Good news Wednesday, it'll be 75. Good. It'd be 7.75. I don't know. It could be a point. It could be, they're talking about a full point. Okay. And listen, whatever they do, it's not enough. Okay. They've already butchered, and this is the Fed. We're talking about the Fed, but I'm sorry. The Federal Reserve is going to raise either 3/4 or a full point. But whatever they're going to do, they've already missed the boat by 10 years. Okay. These rates should have been hiked years ago. Okay. This is trying to put a Band-Aid on a wound that needs a tourniquet. Okay. And this is going to slow the economy even worse. And what they're doing could actually create a depression. Okay. Not stimulate the economy. Okay. And that's the bigger problem. Okay. I don't know the 1 point. I think the 1 point might be priced in already, big boy. Okay. Do you think the street is already preparing for? I think the street is probably pretty much on top of it. Yeah. I think that they've already, kind of priced that in. Okay. I think the key in this race is not what happens in the House. I think it's if the Republicans regain power, they're not getting 60 seats in the Senate. That's for sure. Okay. But if they get back to 51 or 52, I think that will make a difference. I don't think that's being priced in as of yet. Okay. Obviously, the House, okay, is already assumed. I mean, and that's not because of this administration. That's been pretty much of a natural in any mid-cycle. Okay, it changes power. Okay, so and it was the last election, and one of the things that made it more likely that there was some hanky-panky. Okay, was the number of House seats they actually won without the president carrying the White House. But in the meantime, so again, this is more steady. Okay, and that gives you an idea of your trend versus the straight up action here, and then of course followed by the failure. So when it becomes more steady with less big jumps and big failures, you're moving away from a bear market and into more of a bull market. Okay, but we don't have enough evidence yet to make that declaration because we're really still, seeing the straight down. And now really we had the recovery. And again, it could be changing. Again, that I can't say. But the biggest key to watch for is the power of the rally. Okay. The powers of the rally. Okay. And it's the speed in which they go up. That is a bigger guide. Okay. And remember, 100 points in NASDAQ is nothing. Okay. 100 points in NASDAQ means absolutely zip. Okay. Because again, remember percentage moves, not moves of what you think is a big number, but what are the actual percentages that is moving. Okay. So earning are not as bad as expected. Well, I think that's part of it. But again, remember, the earnings themselves are more of a game. Okay. This is, I think, one of the problems with earnings reports. Companies will try to under promise and over deliver, even if they're crap. Okay. And that goes for everybody. Apple's gotten away with it for years, and Google has as well. Okay. And I think that it's a game, which is not really working on true reasoning or logic, but the game that they play. Okay. Trying to obviously raise money for their companies. I mean, let's remember why they sell stock and what they're trying to do. Okay. So I think that when you look at it, okay, understand that earnings are kind of like an artificial. That's more of a spoof or a manipulation trade than anything else. Okay. They're downgrading themselves and willing to take the punishment on the stock today to have you charge and fired up on earnings typically. So, I mean, earnings cannot be good overall, but they may be better than expected. Okay. So anyways, where was I? Back to business. Okay. So honestly, I know that's not a great answer, but that's the answer. Okay. If the high speed spikes and sell-offs stop and we get more steady action, okay, then that would tell us that the actual bear market is over. Forget about what they consider a bear market 20%. The real key comes into the price action of the market. Okay. And that will tell you the bear market. And right now, the last few days, it's really harder to tell. But as we look, and when we look at it again, but the charts are not suggesting that the bear market is over yet. Okay. It's suggesting that the possibility exists, but not that it's over yet. And somebody else had some other questions. The catalyst for the next sell. I don't know. Again, please. This is where you get into trouble. You're looking for a reason to buy or to sell. Okay, instead of letting the market dictate to you. Okay, Italian bank crisis. What do you think? The banks are in trouble anyways. Okay, that doesn't do anything. Can it cause a quick sell-off? Possibly. But again, I think those of you who keep looking for a reason or what's going to be the next catalyst are those that are always whining that you lost, because China it's already assumed. In my opinion, it's already assumed that China's going into Taiwan. Okay, I don't think there's ever even a question there. New COVID-19. The last pandemic was bullshit. Do you think we're going to fall for the same trick once again? Okay. Again, if you take the numbers, if you go back to 2016, 17, 18, and add up all the cases of colds and all the cases of flu, okay, and then you go into 20, 21, 22, or whatever it is, and you add up all the cases of the colds, flu, and COVID, you'll have around the same number with the natural, normal increase based on population. Okay. So what did they really do? They gave the hospitals and doctors more money because they called it COVID. Okay. It did not, COVID was not what everybody said it was going to be. Okay. We have not had the devastation and from like the Spanish flu and all the other stuff because it was a bunch of horseshit. Okay. It's garbage. In my opinion. Again, I don't have facts to back it up except numbers. And my numbers are pretty right. Okay. Again, you can believe what you want, but I know 50 people had COVID. No, I don't know anybody who died from it. Okay. But I do know that old people, okay, need to be careful, but old people need to be careful, or respiratory issues need to be careful, whether it's the flu, the cold, or COVID. They're all the same, in my opinion. I had it too. Okay. So I don't know. Okay. How much SVX upside do we see if Putin is removed? He's not going to be removed. Okay. And even he is. You again, this goes back to he's not getting removed tomorrow. Okay. And bet your ass that Goldman Sachs and JP Morgan and those guys will know about it already. If it's going to happen, they're already going to know. Okay. This is not 1980. Okay. The information flow, the amount of information that these guys can attain. Okay. I don't see it. I think we're going down. Okay. I'm long, but I'm telling you, in my opinion, we're going a lot lower. Okay. But it doesn't mean we can't go higher first and make money on the long side and then get a trend reversal and crash. Okay. But I can't project out this far. If I did that, I'd be a lying jackass and going against everything that I teach you. Okay, so I'm sorry, but these are questions that are really not answerable because nobody knows how they're going to react. Okay, ceasefire and dumbass and Donbass. How much of a pop? I don't. Again, I think you're making too many assumptions on garbage, which is going to do nothing for your investing portfolio. And if you're a trader, then you understand how price action works. So none of these questions would even matter. Okay. What happened to all the TARP banking debt from 2008? The Fed stole it. What do you mean? They gave our money away. We got paid more taxes for it, and then they devalued the currency. I mean, that's pretty easy. Okay. All right, again, public servants, military, police, firefighters. Thank you. Look, I can't thank you enough for the service that you provide. I couldn't have as big a mouth as I have if I didn't have you giving us a still somewhat free country, but certainly we don't have as much freedom as we had. Okay. And, you know, I think, but again, I have to thank my public servants because, again, you guys worked your ass off, put your lives on the line for what? For 1/10 of what the private guys make. Okay. I thank you. A flood of repossessed cars poised to hit the used car market. Well, again, listen, do you think this is any different than what happened in 07, 08, and 09? Does anybody think this is any different? The banks are over leveraged. Again, I wish I could get in there with my own team of auditors. Okay. People are in debt up to their eyeballs. I don't care what they say they have to spend. Okay. But yet, the car prices keep going up. Well, you know what happens when something keeps going straight up, right? It goes down faster. Okay. If you're looking for a used car, wait. Okay. I would never want to. First of all, I goofed around in 16 up for president. I actually had buttons made, but I would never want to be president. First, I wouldn't last. I'd last 5 minutes. The first reporter would ask me a stupid question, I'd tell him to go F off. That'd be the end of it. Okay. Biden declares climate emergency. Can somebody tell me what the climate emergency is? Please, somebody explain to me what is the climate emergency? Okay. Tell me again. What is he crying climate emergency? What is it? Okay. Now here's a Democrat. Summer says Fed needs to take strong action to curb inflation. Okay. Now, again, the Fed, he said this for a while. He has been on the side of emergency ice use melting. Okay. Look, the Fed can only screw this environment, the country now. Okay. By raising too fast because it's going to slow everything. Okay. We're going to go into a grinding halt, which is, I think, part of the plan. Okay. But at the end of the day, okay, the Fed should have never stopped raising when Ben Bernanke panicked in 2013. They have too much worry about the stock market and not enough worry about the whatchamacallit, okay, about the overall business and the country. Okay. Oil shortage. Russia threatens countries that comply with Biden's policies. Now, we talked about this when they first started talking about sanctions, and they were talking, oh, Russia's in default, which they never were. Okay. You cannot threaten sanctions if you're not willing to produce the natural resources that they are threatening with. Okay. What do you think? Do you think Putin gives one shit ass word about what Biden says? Do you think he could care what Biden says? Biden's not Trump. Okay. Biden's weak. Always was weak. Do you think that they care one bit? They could care less what he says because he ain't gonna do anything about it anyways. Okay. So you cannot put sanctions unless you're willing to produce the natural resources that's going to take them apart. If we went back into production and became a net exporter again, then guess what? Then those sanctions would work and you could get control. But you can never get control when they control some of the main natural resources that everybody uses and needs. Okay. Rick's coming with withdrawal. I'm sure. Look, I'm sure that you're going to see other currencies. Okay. But they're not coming out. The United States will be the reserve currency until further notice. Please, you're the same guy who asked me about silver when I told you it was all bullshit with silver squeeze. Okay. you read too much crap. Okay, that's the bottom line. Okay, we are still the power. As weak as we are right now, and as weakened as we become, we are still the power in the world. Okay, and the difference in our country versus others is it can change in 2 to 4 years. Okay, China's on a 100-year plan, and Russia could never withstand unless they're willing to go nuclear. Okay, so in the meantime, the words of wisdom from our friend Connie: no matter how tight you turn, ride it out, never give up. And, you know, again, one thing I would add to this, and this is always, she's always spot on, is just to make sure you're getting the education to make sure you understand that there's a tight turn coming. Okay. Again, I give you enough information to teach you that if you're willing to work on it, you can become a much better trader. Okay. But if you just think that, you know, that everybody's got the answers and that by following the news or doing this is going to make you rich, well, you're wrong. Okay. You end up in the same place you always end up. Okay, panicking and puking out. And of course, the State of the Union. It's hard to imagine a more stupid or more dangerous way of making decisions than by putting those decisions in the hands of people who pay no price for being wrong. Now, think about that. Okay, what do our politicians on either side of the aisle pay for? Okay, when their decision is wrong. Okay, now mind you, these are the same people that took a raise in the middle of COVID when people weren't working, people were starving, and they're taking a raise. This is the same group that has not Obamacare, but their own private insurance. Okay. So, and they're making the decisions for you. We are so far away from the original Constitution that it's almost laughable. Okay, if it wasn't cryable. Okay. Very good one, Connie. Thank you, as always. Okay. And of course, I've been bitching forever, but I get one more. Okay. House Democrats block legislative amendment to prevent U.S. oil sales to China. Now, I don't know if you're aware of this or not, but we have been tapping the SPR, which is the Strategic Petroleum Reserve, which is really in place for wartime. Okay. It is not there just to use at your own whim. But not only are we tapping it, and it's at 50 or 60 or 70-year lows, okay, but we're selling it to China. Okay, think about that. We're selling it to China. Okay, our reserve, we are selling to China. And the Republicans put up a bill to block that from selling from this SPR to China. And the Democrats are going to block it. Now think about that. Okay, do you want to sell to China from your SPR, from your strategic reserve? Okay. Do you? Okay. So you tell me, okay, what this is all about. Okay, why are we giving up our case oil? Right, that's again wartime oil. Why are we giving that and selling it to China when we can produce as much as we want? SPR lowest since the mid-80s. I'm sorry, 40 years. I was wrong. I said 50. Okay, think about that for a minute. Okay, so, anyways, now we'll get into some stocks. Now that I got more, but I don't want to waste your time with more. Anyways, the Dow is, of course, you know, we use the Dow futures, Yankee Michael, and you know we're long. I don't like it, but we're long. Okay, and again, see, here was, and by the way, for the question before, my brother, you see, you had these two spikes up, and the blow-offs, even though they weren't technically blow because they weren't enough buying, but it's being resolved by going sideways. If it was still a real bear market for sure, it'd come right back down. Okay, there's a good example for you too. So sideways is a way to resolve the blow-off. It doesn't change the overall pattern yet, but it does give us some more information. Okay. In the meantime, yeah, if you're going to trade this, listen, I'm not a big fan. Okay, I am long. Again, full disclosure, 31.6. Okay, and I think you're probably looking at 32.4 on the upside. Okay, now obviously I'm going to tell you that I can't really be a seller because I don't get my opinion involved here as much as I'd like to be a seller. Only during the day on a day trade would I be a seller. Okay. 31.6 to 32.4. The S&P, Echo Sierra. Okay. And again, same pattern, right? Up, down, up, and sideways. It looks like we got 39.50 as some support. and probably 41, 40, 50 as some resistance. Okay, that's how I would look at it. 39.50 to 40.50 would be what I'd be looking at. Again, we're long, so I wouldn't really be necessarily a seller on the level, okay, until the pattern changes. But again, that has nothing to do with the day trading pattern when I'm trading during the day. Okay. And then the NASDAQ, November, Quebec, again, so you're seeing the same pattern repeat itself in almost the same exact way going through the different ones. Now, the NASDAQ was a little bit lower today and actually down on what would be considered some support here. But I think the true support is probably 11.9-ish. Okay. And the resistance is probably, 12.8. Okay. And again, we're long, so it'd be hard for me to, to go against what I always say and say that I'm not a seller, right? I'm not going to sell this at the level, okay, because I'm long. And until that changes, I can't violate what I teach you. Okay. India is refining Russian oil. Yeah, so yeah, but they're getting ripped off for it anyway. There's a difference. They're paying ridiculous prices for it. I mean, that doesn't mean anything. It means all it means is you get screwed a little bit more. Okay. I mean, they're facilitating, but they're paying a lot more. What do you think? Russia doesn't know that they're doing that? Okay. And of course, the Russell obviously been the strongest overall. And again, here, now let's go back to our copper look for a minute. Okay. And look what happened. This looked like it just kind of what happened in copper. Okay. And it started to go up slowly, then it broke out. Now, again, I'm not saying that copper is going higher. I just want you to be aware of the different patterns. But again, in all four major indexes, the buying blowoffs, okay, which were not true blowoffs because there wasn't enough buying, but the big spike buys are being resolved right now by going sideways or by consolidating. Okay. They're not getting it. Where do you get your information from? Please don't give me nonsense. Okay. They ain't getting discounted. Russia ain't discounting anybody right now. Okay. Russia is making a fortune right now and they're giving nothing to nobody. Do you think that they're going to give a discounted price when they're torturing them on the open market? Okay. All right. Control the food, control the energy, control the money. Well, listen, control the food supply. That's what Bill Gates is trying to do. Okay. He's trying to buy all this farmland. In the meantime, so the indexes are all doing the same exact thing. They've all popped and gone sideways. Now, we can go either way from here. Okay. And I got to give you levels. I did not. So I will do that now. Even I remember, even without you yelling at me, call me a jackass. 1770 is some support. Okay. And then I would suspect probably from around 1840. Okay. There's going to be some resistance. Okay. Now, again, right now we're headed higher. Okay. But we haven't determined if we're headed higher. Is it a true breakout? Is the market, are they going to actually shift? Big week for earnings this week. Google, Amazon, Apple, and a number of others. So again, a lot of things could happen to push this market one way or the other. Okay. And we'll have to watch the price action to determine. But the sideways resolve of the blow-off is something to watch. Okay. Because either it's going to be a true breakout and we're going to start to move higher, or it's going to fail and it's going to prove to be nothing but a dead cat bounce or a bear market rally. That we cannot identify. The VIX, now the VIX was kind of interesting. Again, the VIX tells a lot of stories. Okay. Now they're not always right, but it does tell a lot of stories. And the story I was telling today is even when we're getting punished late and the S&P was down about 17 points and the NASDAQ was on about 160, the Dow would turn negative and the Russell turned negative, the VIX was only up like 50 cents. Okay. It wasn't showing any type of sense of urgency to buy options. Okay. And again, as you know, or I've told you before, I write about this every week for Tradier, and there's still the dominant side is still the seller of options, whether they be calls or puts or bull put spreads or selling call spreads. The trigger is a sell to open, which is going to keep the pressure on the VIX. Now, again, we thought maybe 25 might hold it. Maybe it's here. And maybe we're getting a real rally and the VIX, they're going to keep selling and selling more. We'll see. Like, I don't have a level to give you. I mean, you just got to watch it. But the important thing about the volatility index is during the day, if the markets are getting hammered, the VIX should be going the opposite way. Okay. And if the markets are going up big, it should be going down. Now, if that is not the case, I would always err to being with the VIX. Okay. Because the VIX is really accommodating much more stock than is actually traded because of options. You figure it out. And options worth 100 shares. So the control. So if the markets are going straight down and the VIX is going straight down, you better look to be a buyer at some point. And conversely, if the VIX is going straight up and the market's going straight up, you better look to be a seller at some point. Okay. But use your chart levels. All right. Apple. Alpha Papa Lima. They got earnings Wednesday or Thursday, right? 28th. That's Thursday. Okay. Not a surprise. I mean, they've had a huge, look at the rally. Okay. Look at the rally from the bottom. Okay. They've gone basically straight up. We're long. Okay. Which is a good thing. Okay. And, you know, at the end of the day, it looks like it wants to push. Now, is this the end? And just again, I always give you full disclosure. We have an option position, which originally was put on for earnings, but it's gotten so far away to the upside that we took the profit out of the calls, the extra calls we had today. At least I recommend it. If they ever did or not, I don't know. But at the end of the day, because now I don't see how much more can it go, and I can go a lot higher. Okay. But is there a chance that they've already priced in great earnings if they are great? So in the meantime, we're long, and I would say your level is 150 is going to be some support still. And I think your new resistance is probably going to be about 160. And I think the expectations for this is probably, I'm going to guess $6, $7 plus or minus. Let's see. Let's find out. Let's go to the bat cave and find out what they're telling us. $7, almost 8. I'm about right. I'm on target. Okay. So again, the price, the actions, the options are pricing in $7 to $8 plus or minus. In the meantime, 150 to 160. Alpha Golf, which again, we're short this. We've been shorted forever. It's not really here as a design short. It is here as a design long when this market turns around. Okay, this is based on silver. In the meantime, again, it just looks off. Okay, it looks like silver. Okay, and you know, right now there is really no support. And please do not sell this at $7. That would be the resistance level I'd be watching for try to break through. Do not sell this. There's a lot better sales than selling a $7 stock. Okay, we have it and we use options, so we're never naked shorted. Okay, but truthfully, I'd like to hold off until it turns around, but I can't make those decisions in my portfolio. But in the meantime, it keeps drifting lower and lower and lower. Anyways, $7 resistance. Right now, there is no support. AMD, Alpha Michael Delta, which we are long. Okay. And again, you got a pretty sharp up move, way too fast to the upside, which is why you're now seeing there's a little bit of a pullback. I think the key here is going to be like 85 is going to be some support if it can hold. And I think they have earnings next week, I believe. I'm not sure, but I think it's next, or they already have. I don't even know. How's it? But I would say that this is probably right now 85 to 95. And this will answer the question somebody asked about gaps last week. I think it's got a chance to fill this gap. Okay. So they do eventually, but it doesn't necessarily mean that they're immediate. Okay. But I think you're looking at 85 to 95 as it turns. And it has, again, the selling is natural because it went up way too fast. Remember, anytime we get away from the mean at too fast of a pace, it's going to have some retracement, whether it be to the downside or the upside. Okay. So if you're a moving average you're watching, when it gets too far off the moving average, just whatever tool you're using, okay, if it gets too far from that tool, then it's probably going to make a little bit of retracement. Amazon, Alpha Michael Zulu November, okay, which we do not have yet in our portfolios, but it will be soon. They have earnings on Thursday as well. They have traded very nicely after splitting and going all the way down to like 100. Get down here and look at that. Look at that kind of bottomish pattern. Okay. They've charged up, made a higher low, and we would be long this if we were in it, but we're not. I do own it in my hedging portfolio. But to me, I look at this and I say, you know, you had earnings, so it's always want to be a little more careful. But I would look at this at, 117 is some support, probably 125 some resistance. But if you were asking for my advice, I would not trade it if I was not in a regular portfolio with it. or anything. I wouldn't put on a new position that was picking a side, either long or short, going into the earnings. We did put on a position that is basically neutral, that will benefit in either way. Okay. Is it? Okay. Always possible. Actually, it's postmark 116. Okay. So again, maybe an early announcement, who knows? I don't care. Okay. Right now, all I can see is what I can see right here. But again, we don't have a position, and I don't, again, unless you know what you're doing, or you're in the portfolios, or you have a safe position on it. Safe is a relative word, but something that's not exposed to unlimited risk. Okay, then you don't want to trade under earnings. It just doesn't make sense. There's too many things that can go wrong than enough that can go right. BABA, Bravo Alpha, which we are short, and it is once again breaking down. It looks to me like you got resistance at about 107. And I think the next support is probably 97, and then probably 92. Okay. And this is perfect. After it peaked, okay, it is now developed into a nice, smooth, trending lower market. And I look for that to continue. Walmart's earnings were a couple weeks ago. They weren't today. Walmart, they were a couple weeks ago for earnings. I don't know. You must be looking at something wrong. I don't know. I mean, Walmart's earnings were about 2 weeks ago. Yeah. So, BABA, again, I think 97, then 92. FIDO, which I don't know if we should still cover it. You guys want to still cover this? I'll let you guys vote on it. Okay. You want to cover it? This is all this is Bitcoin. And because they haven't been able to develop enough open interest and enough trading throughout months out. Okay. Well, I know what it is. I'm asking you a question. I told you it was junk all along, if you're a Bitcoin believer, but you don't want to get involved, this is a way to buy it. So again, please be careful with your terminology. Okay. We haven't been able to make a trade yet because it just said, I use it for one reason, was to find if we could find some from futures formations that would make this trade. But so far we've seen nothing. Okay. So Walmart is down, but not on earnings, so they're just down. Okay, hold on. Now you're going to make me look, and I will look. Okay, but I'm 99% sure Walmart had earnings 2 weeks ago, or 3 weeks ago. I think we had earnings this time. Yeah, Walmart's earnings are back here. Okay, on the 17th of May. Okay, and their next earnings aren't until middle of August. Okay, so again, I'm not saying you're wrong with that. You're perfectly right. Obviously, price is a price. I can't change that, but it's not because of earnings. Okay, but Walmart is getting clocked. Okay, makes sense. Okay. There must have been some news on something on some front. Okay. In the meantime, where was I? So I don't know. We'll keep it up for another week, anyways. In the meantime, right now, look, Bitcoin, it trades just like Bitcoin. I would say 15 is resistance. 12 is support. If you want to gamble and buy it, I own it. I bought it. So if you want to gamble, that's all it's good for right now. Is it possible the U.S. government might nationalize and adopt a crypto and making it into replacement for cash? They're not going to adopt the crypto. They are making their own digital coin now as we speak. Okay. All right. It looks like the votes are no. We are going to be digital before long. Okay. Which is, not the same as crypto. It's still going to be controlled by the central bank. Okay. Oh, Walmart can't lower guy. Yeah, that makes sense. That's what I said. Guys, remember when I said that about Walmart? There's no way they could ever make their number. They can't get enough goods. Anyways, so for the moment, okay, 12 to 15 on BIDO and BitQ. Again, these are just gambling plays. If you want to gamble on the crypto world, that's really the only purpose. We have 2 crypto stocks in our portfolio, one being Coin and one being Mara, which we'll get to. Those won't be coming off, but these, they could come off. Again, these are more like gambling plays if you feel like gambling. Okay. So in the meantime, BitQ looks like $7. Looks like the bond is some support, and you're probably looking at $9 as some resistance. But basically, if you're buying this, you're just gambling on cryptocurrency in general. Okay. Chewy, Charlie Hotel Whiskey Yankee, which we are still long, and listen, is done well. And again, What did I say to you last week and the week before? It went up too fast. It's probably going to go sideways. Okay. And look what happened. So now what's going to happen? Oh, that we don't know yet. The pattern says long. I say that your support is around 40. Your resistance is around 48 to 50. And that really has not changed. Okay. And you could say, no, there is some resistance, let's say at 45, which is certainly a legitimate argument. Okay. But I believe if it does break to the upside, it is going to 50. If it does break to the upside, right now, it's just in consolidation. And it's really just relieving this overbought position. And certainly, if that's the right angle that it should be at, that it can still come down to here and still be in an uptrend. Okay. Which company are you talking about? Chewy? Do I think they're solid? I do. I use them. I'm a customer. Okay. And I think at worst they'll be a part of Amazon. Okay. You know, in my opinion, Amazon's taking over everything. Okay. So I think they're a very good company. And people, you know, one thing about pets, me being one of them, pet owners will do anything for their pets. Okay. Anyways, 40 to 50. Coin, Charlie Oscar India November. Okay, which we are long now. Okay. And again, I was kind of glad when it got long. I don't like necessarily where we got long at, but again, it did break out. Okay, and it broke out nicely. Okay, with a little bit of a charge. So now we're seeing like others, like the indexes, like AMD and others that are consolidating on the top end. Okay. And I suspect that if coin can get through 80, okay, it probably could make a pretty good run. Now, I mean, I get there. That's again, this is a big ask. Okay. But to me, for today, I would be looking at this from 65 to 80. Okay, 65 to 80. DraftKings, which will come off, but it was having a good week. And I know a bunch of us are in it. And I'm hoping that one time I get to come in and say, oh, I got taken over. Okay. We still have it in the portfolio that hasn't been replaced yet, but it will be. But in the meantime, we are still long it as well. Now, the good news is it is holding. I mean, it's kind of sad to say, but it's like, $13 level. To me, it's like 13 to 15. Okay. Again, this is basically worthless. Okay. I'm sure they had supply issues. Everybody's got supply issues. This is the problem, and why I don't think that any of these companies that depend on buying goods are going to be able to make their numbers if they're legit. Okay. This is like 13 to 50, but again, this is almost embarrassing to watch. Okay. It's kind of a dead issue unless they get bought out. I mean, and I don't know that they're going to get that or not, but obviously a big vote in November in California, but we saw that, the vote in New York, and they're one of the providers in New York, and that didn't give it a bounce, and they're doing boxcar numbers there. So I think it's just what I said it was. I think I miscalculated what it was, and it is what it is. So right now we're still in it. We're still long. It's 13 to 15. Meta, or the old-fashioned Facebook. Okay. Which we are also long. Popped up again, a little bit too sharp. That pace can never be sustained for any length of time. Okay. Just like the down over here couldn't be sustained, and it consolidated to get out of it, and now it popped. Now what's it going to do now? Well, they got earnings this week too, I believe. Yeah. So I mean, a lot of this is going to come to earnings. So I'm not going to give you levels here. I will tell you that we're long. Okay, but the levels are meaningless going into earnings. Okay, because again, these stocks are going to move. I mean, Meta's pricing in. I give you the numbers that the options say they're going to move, and that again, that's plus or minus. That isn't one way or the other. That we don't know. Meta's calculating in $19, 14% move. Okay, so again, why would you want to get involved unless you're already in? Okay. First Solar, Foxtrot, Sierra, Lima Romeo, same story. It's got earnings this week. So look, we're up at the top. We're working our way higher. We happen to be long this, but again, looking fine. But I think it's up probably a little bit too fast. This is not bad. This is nice action. But again, it's coming in earnings. So what does it mean? I mean, this is probably, my guess is about, look, I said this has got a 12% move it's predicting. I don't even know. I don't look all the time, but I'm giving you what I would think it might be just from my memory. Bank. Okay. And I'm wrong, 10% move, approximately, a little bit under 10%. Okay, so we'll see. We'll see what they do. In the meantime, I really can't give you a level. I just tell you that we're long. GDX, Gulf Delta X-ray, which we're still short. Obviously, no earnings here. This looks awful. Okay, and last week it looked like, or 2 weeks ago, no, it was last week. It looked like it might be starting to make a bottom. It did not. It failed, and it now is broken really to a new low. Okay, so basically right now 25 is kind of resistance. Now I am not advocating for you to short. Okay, this at 25. I mean, if I were going to look at a GDX, I don't trade it myself, except in a portfolio. But if I were going to look at this would be something I'd be looking at if I was looking for a big rally in gold. And based on what this pattern is telling me, other than if I could consider this a potential blow off, which I really can't, then I'd look to be a buyer. But I would wait much longer than just trying to get the first move. If it's going to move, it can go back to 40 where it was not that long ago. Okay. But why try to fish it off the bottom when you have no real reason at this point? There's always a time to pick bottoms, but this is not the time. Okay. Anyways, 25 is resistance. We're short. There's really no support. Google, which I think is earnings also this week. Okay, which again is not in our portfolios, but it will be. But we're just kind of in a big range, right? You're in 105 to 120. And remember, these had big moves on earnings when they were big price stocks. Now, again, I'm not talking about the dollar amounts they're moving. The percentage were pretty big. Now, what are they expecting here? Okay, not very big. Only about a 7% move. Okay, in Google. So, again, obviously the split has calmed down everything a little bit as well. We'll see. Now, certainly they're capable, because if you remember when they were used to be at $100 and at $200, they had some pretty wild swings. But in the meantime, I own both this and Amazon, just again, full disclosure, in my hedging portfolio. Okay, but I have no other position other than a earnings trade, which is designed for earnings. Okay. In the meantime, I'd say again 107 to 120. I'm going to add GLD. Okay, I took out a bunch. I'm adding in GLD tonight. Okay, I think that again, I'm not saying we're going to buy it now. I mean, obviously, we would be we're shorted anyways. But I think if we get a move, again, I think at some point we're going to nice move higher in gold at some point. Not yet, but I'd like to have this in our arsenal if we do. Okay. Right now, I would say it's probably, and believe it or not, for $150 stock, 158 to 160. I mean, 161. Actually, I give you a little bit more. I give you 162, 158 to 162. But it looks pretty ugly. Looks like it wants to go low. 158 to 162. Goldman Sachs, Gulf Sierra, okay, which were long. This had big earnings, which was not a surprise. Went straight up all last week, basically. Now look what's happening. It is going sideways, okay, after the move, which is way too parabolic, okay, too fast. It cannot be sustained, as you can obviously see. So it can either go sideways for a while, it could break up and try to break up again. At some point, it's going to come back and have some what they call a mean reversion, okay, down to here, okay. But again, it could be later. It can go sideways just as long as it can continue to rise. That's why, if you ever look at the Bollinger Bands, they always look like they're great, that they're always right, but they're not, because they're constantly adjusting. So this trend line will never adjust, but the prices will sit. So again, you can either continue to see this be on the rise and they will meet at some point, or these may fall into this, or a combination of the two. Okay. My golf game sucks. They stink. Okay. But I'll keep trying. In the meantime, Goldman, we're long. Look, true support based on the last few days is 320. I think support is like 315. Okay. And then the top is very solid at 330. Again, we get out of 330, you're probably going to 350. Okay. This will be another key as to whether or not this is a bear market rally or the start of a new market. Okay. This is, banks are one of the keys. Okay. And they're getting a lot of benefit from all these Fed hikes too. IWM, India Whiskey Michael. Look, we're long, kills me, but we're long, right? But again, just like the Russell, sideways, you're probably looking at 184 as some resistance. 180 is some support, 179. Okay, and that's it. Okay, now again, some of these will be more the Qs should have some action this week based on earnings. Russell, not so much. I'm adding in tonight Las Vegas Sands. Give us another secondary casino stock. You know, if China's going to finally relent and let Macau be open and stay open, okay, then, you know, I'd like the casino stocks. I like them anyways. And so, you know, we traded occasionally. And I think, you know, we have no position because we don't have it in any portfolio right now, but certainly I think that probably 37 is some support. I think it's 37 to 40. Okay, but it looks like it wants to try to break higher. But again, remember, the earnings took it up a little bit too fast. So in any case, at best, it's going to go sideways, if not far. Okay, now we're not going to make any trade here, but for tonight, 37 to 40. Mara, which we do trade, it's the other crypto world thing that we trade. And Mara, we are long. Okay, and again, same story. So you notice the familiar patterns. They go up too fast. They either reverse and go down or go sideways. And you're seeing sideways. Okay. Mega Millions. Oh, maybe I can get that. Okay. I don't play, but maybe I can win it. Maybe somebody will buy me a ticket. Okay. In the meantime, we are long this. I'd say it's probably 10 to 14 right now. Okay. You know, but again, too speedy, too fast up, sideways it should go for a while. I mean, this would be, there you go. There's the almost, that's almost in the textbook. Okay. Neo, November, India, Oscar, which we are still long. Okay. It's kind of breaking to the downside. Little concerning, okay, from a long standpoint, because it certainly now has all the earmarks. You know, I would say, and again, I don't know for a fact right now, but I would guess if I'm looking at this chart, one more down day from here, it's going to reverse. Okay. This looks like it's breaking down. Okay. Now, as I look at the chart and give you the levels, I'd give you probably $18 as some support, and 18 and 20 is resistance right now. Again, maybe 21. Again, there's obviously they're never exact. Those are areas to watch. Nuggets, November Uniform Golf Tango, leave, breaking down, ugly. Okay, and again, this is gold. Okay, and look, you'll have plenty of time to step in when it's time. Okay, but trying to outguess it or outsmart it or beat it is a mistake. Okay, look, it's going down. Why fight it? Okay, I mean, we're still shorted. We've been shorted for how long now? Like forever. I mean, look, there's no reason to buy this. Okay, if you do, you're just saying, okay, I'm smarter than everything. 30 is resistance. There is no support. Okay, and now we're in danger of the old reverse split. And not yet, but soon. Okay, and all that means is that they bring the price back up so it trades more so they can sell it. Okay. This is Trading View. Yeah, I have Thinkorswim. I have Trading View. I've been using Trading View for a while. Okay, because I like the way it sets up these better. Okay, but anyways, what I say. So 30 is resistance. There is no buy. Nvidia, November Victor Delta Alpha, which we are long. Us and Nancy Pelosi. Now, if you say this is the bottom, again, I'm not saying it was or it wasn't, but if you say that's the bottom, and that makes the trend, then of course, naturally, we escaped a little bit too quickly. We would expect these to intersect at some point to resume the trend. Now, again, the blow off or the too fast up or down can resolve by going sideways, by consolidating. Okay. So, and there's nothing that's automatic, which is why you have to continue to read the price action. In the meantime, I would say 160 to 190. That's an awfully big range, but this is an awfully big stock. Okay. 160 to 190. Penn, Papa Echo, November, which we remain short. It is up at the upper end. Okay. And trying to break out. And again, I put this in the same category as DraftKings, which it'll probably come off shortly because, again, I don't know what, you know, they just, if you've never been here before, casinos stocks that are bookmaking sports are only banking on trying to make 5% of the amount of money they handle. They're not like a company. They can have a huge profit on a product they sold. This is just strictly banking on that they get two-way action. The loser pays 10%. They keep half, 5%. So 5% goes to the house, basically. And I think that these got way too outpriced. And unless they get bought out, this is Barstools, and the other one is VSiN and DraftKings. So in the meantime, we'll see what they look like. But we are still short this. Okay. So, and it looks like to me, 32, and they got earnings, I think, coming up this week or next couple of weeks, 32, 36. The Qs, Quebec, which we are long. Okay. And, look, at the end of the day, same thing, too fast up, going sideways. Getting tired of me saying that every 5 minutes. I would say that you probably have some resistance around 313 or so, and you get support around 300. But know that Google, Amazon, Apple, and others reporting this week could make the Qs very active this week. Now, all those earnings come out after the close, but it could certainly do something. Okay, so you want to be a little careful. Again, this index is going to be affected. Okay, so you want to be a little more careful. Okay, I have about $300 sitting in DraftKings Bank for months. You think they make money on the float? Yeah, they make a little bit, not enough. Okay, the interest rates are too low. So again, you got to be careful. Okay, because these are gonna move. Okay, and they're gonna move with these earnings. Those are big percentages of the NASDAQ. Okay, so in the meantime, like I said, 280 to 300 or so. I apologize. 290 to 310. Okay, 285 and somewhere in, again. This is really going to depend on the price action that is created, and probably more later in the week. I would expect to see some chop until then. Roku have earnings this week as well, I believe. Okay, again, Roku and our position, we are short. Okay, again, to me it looks awful. Okay, looks like it wants to go lower. Attempted a little bit of rally and failed. Again, but it's coming on earnings, so I'm not going to really give you levels. I will disclose that we are short, but again, unless you're a regular professional trader or you're in our portfolio models, I don't want you playing these markets because, again, we're pretty sharp. The numbers, as it has turned out, have been pretty good on earnings. Okay, the algorithms have been pretty good on earnings, reading it ahead of time. But overall, just trying to pick a direction, I think you're making a mistake. So I'm not going to really give you levels, but I will tell you to watch 100 if it gets there. Okay. Square, Sierra Quebec, Square Dance, they got earnings coming soon, probably next couple of weeks. But we are along this as well. And you're seeing that obviously the same familiar story, maybe at different depths, but this looks like 70 should be support and probably 76 is some resistance. Okay. But certainly it has kind of resolved the overbought conditions and looks like it's in position to even go higher. The SPY, Sierra Papa Yankee, looks to me like you got 390 as some support. 400 is some resistance. Okay, but we are long. Okay, and certainly, again, see, this is my concern. The continued lackluster trade in the lack of buy. The Qs, Tango, Quebec. We don't trade these anymore in any portfolio, but certainly if I were looking, if you were to a shot, okay, into earnings, this might be the spot for it. Okay, but remember, they do work off a multiplier. And the multiplier is smaller now because the stock is cheap. Okay. But to me, it looks like about 29 is some support. Tesla, Tango, Sierra Lima, Alpha. Look, they had a nice pop up. And of course, like everything else, and this was a blow off. It would not have worked, but it was a blow off. Okay. And I mean, it still could work. But right now, you'd be probably losing a little bit if you got in. Okay. But in the meantime, okay, here we are. And we're above 800. I would say that probably 750. Okay, and you're probably looking at 750 to 900. When Whiskey Yankee November, which we are long. Again, breaking out. China let go of the ghosts and open up Macau again. We'll see what happens. I think you're looking at 60 to 67.50, and we'll see what happens from there. And XBI, which we don't trade, is in debt and consolidation. But it looks like it wants to go higher. This is a repeating pattern now, right? Pop consolidation, pop consolidation. My assumption would be that 80 would probably be a buy. Okay. I don't trade it, but 80 would probably be a buy. And Zoom, which we don't trade anymore either, but it did hold the bottom as we thought. Okay. And it is trying to push out once again, but look at how little interest there is in here. I mean, I would say that you'd probably want to watch, 95-ish and probably look at 95 to 120 would be that level. Again, it's a lot of room, but why would I want to go any different? Okay. And if you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them now. Like, I know it was a long call, but what the hell? Are the volumes down and everything because of summer? Well, it's part of it's summer. Okay. But I'm trying to see what if the volumes come back. Okay, that's the difference. They've been quiet for a while. Okay, and we'll see if they come back soon. Okay, again, they can come back at any time, but obviously with all these new ETFs and everything else, you may be seeing some reduction in volume anyways. It might be a natural reduction versus other trading vehicles. And don't forget that now that the micros are in play at the CME, it's also competitive for some of these stocks. Okay, so again, we'll see. Check Charlie Hotel Kilo. Is that Chesapeake? No, is it? I don't remember. The symbol looks familiar, but I don't remember. CHK. Oh yeah, Chesapeake Energy. $92. I think I bought this at $5. What the hell happened? They have a reverse split or something? I mean, listen, anything in energy looks pretty good. Okay. Oh, thank you, Dale. Appreciate you, brother. Okay. Reverse split. Yeah, that's what I figured. But again, even with the reverse split, it still looks pretty good. Okay. But anything in energy has been pretty phenomenal. Okay. You're welcome, Ash. My pleasure. It was a pretty good call, but I do say so myself. Okay. But again, I think you just have to be careful. Okay. Look, if I'm right, this is going to go to 200. Okay. If crude and natural gas keep going up, but I think they will. Okay. And again, that's provided that we get no change to our current energy policy. Okay. If that changes, then my opinion is going to change. Okay. From a charting standpoint, to me, this would be a pretty key area. It's got to break above. Okay, if we're going to buy it. Now, I wouldn't trade it anyways, but it's something to look at. Okay. All right. Any others? All right. As always, I thank all of you for participating. Remember, it is next Tuesday, not Monday. Okay. Because I have a previous commitment. And as always, I thank you. We'll see you back. Have a great week, everybody.